Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use JASP to get all of the information you need to analyze a correlation. So I'm going to assume that you have the data in your JASP already. This is the data from activity 10.2. 10.1 does not require JASP. It's a conceptual assignment. What I'm going to be covering here will help you analyze the data and complete the activities for 10.2 and 10.3. So the first thing you need to do is, after the data's in, of course, is click on regression and then correlation. And excuse me, in the activity, it asks you to look at one variable, one correlation at a time, and you can do that. So if I wanted to look at the correlation between spacing score and exam score, I can just pop those two over, and I will get their correlation. But the first thing, and I'll talk about that more in a second, the first thing the activity is going to ask you to do is look at the scatter plot between those. So if you click down here on the scatter plot, you'll get a scatter plot. And you're supposed to interpret the scatter plot for its linearity. Make sure there's no curvilinear function going on. Make sure there's no ceiling effects, all the stuff you read about. Now, this is a very small data set. So it's very difficult to interpret a scatter plot when you've got this small a data set, because I mean, one could argue, oh, it looks nonlinear, it's got some curving, but it's just with this small a data set, this is fine. Just keep going. This is just a pilot study. We're just trying to look at it to see if there's a general trend, and I'm really just showing you how to find and look at a scatter plot. So this is going to be fine. Just keep going. This is linear enough when you have this small a data set. It'll be easier once you get a bigger data set and to sort of see if you can identify the problems. And you'll be seeing some example scatter plots with problems. Okay, so the next thing you're going to have to do is get the correlation and the p-value, which you can see are right here. Here is the correlation between the two variables, and here's the p-value. It will also ask you for the degrees of freedom. So if you click on this sample size here, it'll tell you the number of participants that are contributing to this correlation coefficient. In this case, it's 10. So your degrees of freedom is n, 10, minus 2. So this case, it will be, the df will be 8. Another thing that it's going to ask you to get are confidence intervals for R. So if you click on this, you'll get those. Notice the upper one is on the top and the lower one is on the bottom, which makes sense, right? And then you've got to interpret them. Well, remember that the complete range of a correlation is +1 to -1. If the confidence interval is spanning quite a bit of that range, it's a very wide or very imprecise confidence interval. This one goes from about +0.8, which would be a large effect, to -0.4, basically, which would be a smallish medium effect. So that's a pretty wide range. That's definitely very wide. So in order to get a more precise one, you obviously want to increase the sample size there. The other thing that this activity is going to ask you to do is analyze a second correlation. Well, if you want, you can get tricky and analyze all the correlations at once. If I pop this one over, notice now I get a correlation matrix. So here is the correlation between spacing score and exam score, all of the information I need. Here is all the information I need for spacing score and rereading. And here exam score, and rereading. So you'll need to get those and interpret those. One other thing that you'll be asked to do is get descriptive statistics, get the mean and standard deviation for each of the variables that you're correlating. So if I want, you're going to need the mean and standard. If I'm dealing with spacing score and exam score, I'm going to need the mean and standard deviation for spacing score and the mean and standard deviation for exam score. So the way you're going to do that to get all of these is click on Descriptive Statistics, and then you can pop the two that you're interested in over, and you'll get them. Here's the mean and standard deviation. That's what you'll need. But you might as well pop them all over because you'll need them all eventually. I think this is everything you will need to complete activities 10.2 and 10.3 successfully. Obviously, if you have any questions, you're welcome to shoot me an email. Good luck.